Well, hello everyone, I'm Dr. Stock, and this video is for entertainment purposes only. Man, we had quite a sell-off yesterday, but it also brings about some opportunities, and I have 3 stocks for you that I would like to mention. I'll show each of those to you and why I think that we're getting close to a time for that dollar cost averaging for each of those. So there are opportunities right now. There might be other market sell-offs, and there might be a little bit more opportunity coming up. So we're just going to have to watch that play out and see. But in the meantime, I think that these are ones that at least deserve some attention. Then it also gives you some time to look into them and consider what's going on. I don't know, like we had to wait on Jerome Powell's comments to see what he says about the Fed rate, and then we also have to worry about the bond tapering to see what they say about that. I think this is the first time that we hear about the projections for 2024, and so that could be pretty significant for us, like for the market. If that comes in higher than we expect, if the dot plot changes to go north instead of staying the same or heading south, like we just have to watch that play out and see. So in the meantime, I have these stocks for you. I think they're really worth considering, given the fact that we had such a large sell-off in the market yesterday across the globe. The global markets were selling off, and these prices, I think, moved to some very key areas. So let's move on right from that, and let's get ready to rock. Welcome back. For those of you who are interested, check out down in the description. You'll find a link to my Patreon. If you enjoy my content, you'd like to see more of what I have to offer, then we have that Patreon link down in the description. By clicking that and going over there and signing up for the Patreon, you get access to my portfolios, my weekly newsletter, my weekly watch list of stocks, also my buy and sell alerts, and also that interaction within the Discord that's over there with me and my investors that are over there. Those are absolutely awesome, positive, passionate people who are all trying to increase their financial status in life. So if you sound like one of those people and you would like to join us, we'd absolutely love to have you over there. Go ahead and check it out. Let me just leave you off then with Moomoo and Weeble, also down in the description. Click the link, sign up, deposit your money. You get free stocks, and I get free stocks for the referral. So thank you for that. And then that like button, cover up your eyeballs. Mash around the screen until you hit it. Maybe along the way you'll hit that subscribe button so that we get more access to my channel, and then also that notification bell ding to get to see anytime that my videos come out. All right, I better move on from there, and I want to talk about these stocks, so let's do it. Stocky. Boom. All right, so the stock that we're looking at right now is Draftkings, and you can see these lines that I have drawn on here for support and resistance. You can see recently, woo, it helps if I zoom in the right way. There we are. You can see recently we peaked up above resistance. We went up to over $64 per share, and since then we've sold off to about $57, and that only increases the upside potential for Draftkings from where we're at right now. And if I zoom out a little bit and show you a little bit more of this price action, let me bring the drawing tools that we have here. We'll go from this low from 42 down here. It helps if I actually click on the trend line tool. There we go. So this low down here, across those lows-ish, we'll go across this one. You can kind of see, and I'm actually going to adjust that a little bit so it doesn't go perfectly through them, but it sort of gets near them. You can see these lows trending upward, and that's the important part of what I'm trying to show, that this is a very bullish move. Plus we're above the 200-day. I know that there's a lot of lines getting on here, and it's getting a little bit tangled, so I'm going to get rid of this bottom trend line that we have here. No, I don't want to delete all drawings, but I do want to get rid of this one. There we go. So then in the orange here, we have the 200-day simple moving average at about $55 per share. And then we also have the blue line here, which is coming in at about $53 per share. We pulled back pretty hard yesterday. You can see that gap down, and you know that's not necessarily surprising, and it's also not specific to Draftkings. And I've gone through, if you've been watching my channel, the acquisition with GNOG, which is a pretty good thing. The partnership with Simple Bet for like just betting on pretty much every play of every game, especially through the NFL and collegiate seasons. Like that's incredible right there. They also are part of the online sports betting movement, which is receiving a lot of legalization throughout the United States, and that's expected to have a very healthy compound annual growth rate over the next several years as that legalization continues and as it picks on popularity. And Draftkings is one of the leaders in that space, and it's my favorite pick, and that's why I have Draftkings. I also have GNOG, but now GNOG is pretty much Draftkings. It trades at I think 0.365 shares of GNOG for every 1 share of DraftKings right now is that conversion rate between the two of them, and that acquisition should take place in the first quarter of 2022. I think that there's going to be, as soon as the sell-off is done, whenever that happens, if it's in today or the next few days, the next few weeks, which I think we're going to be rattled throughout that time, DraftKings is going to come out as a champion. So for me, I really like the price that it's at now, especially for the fact that it's under $60 per share. And right now, if we look at the analyst estimates, just a quick look, the average analyst estimate is $70 per share, and most recently DraftKings has only received price upgrades from the analyst estimates as far as I know. So I think that this is a great opportunity. Let's move on from there. I don't want to take too much of your time here, so I'll try to keep it moving. So the next one coming up here is SOFI, and the fact that SOFI closed below $15 per share yesterday is a good thing. For SOFI, you can see the low down here at $13.56, and we have a slight uptrend across these lows and a slight uptrend across the highs. We did peekaboo up above the 50 period. We finally have that 200-day finally starting to show up for SOFI. It's so new to the market that it just recently has 200 trading days to actually track that moving average. So that's a good thing for us. The 50 period is down below, however, it is starting to flatten out, and so if we get more price action, now mind you, the big thing is yesterday's sell-off when the NASDAQ, which is closer to what this is going to follow, the NASDAQ sold off over 3% at one point in time, and this is all we got out of it. We did not get dropped very low at all. The low price from yesterday was $14.42. There's already significant down pressure, so when we had more of a squeeze from the markets like that, the fact that this thing held up as high as it did is a very good sign for us for support. So we want to keep that in mind as we take a look at SOFI's prices. We have this low price here at about $14 per share, and we didn't make it down that far. We have another one up here, almost $15 per share. $14.91 is what I currently have it at, and I think that's something that will break through in the near future. That banking charter is something to really keep our eyes on. As a matter of fact, over in my Patreon, in the Discord that's attached to it, I put out a buy alert for a few of the options for SOFI, some of them in the nearer term where there's not as much time value, but hedging my bets that we're going to see that banking charter sooner than later. And I also took some for the longer term that would also hedge my bets or give me more time value, so I paid a little bit more, but I expect to have a decent return out of that, where I think that it's a more comfortable window for that banking charter to come through for SOFI. So those are the things that I'm going with. I am counting on that banking charter and their options plays that I'm probably going to trade away. We hear the news of the banking charter, we get that price jump that I'm expecting, and because I'm expecting that sudden jump in prices, that should take that option premium and it should send it through the roof, and I should be able to collect multiples on those option plays. So that's what I have going on with SOFI. If you don't like options and you just like buying the stock, you can also just choose to do that, because we hear news about the banking charter and I think that we're up to 20 bucks. No problem. That's like 30-ish% gain from where we're at right now. So to me, this is an incredible opportunity for SOFI, and the fact that it didn't sell off more is a very good sign. When we look at NEO's chart, this is quite a downtrend that we have, all the way from $55 per share, and that was back on July 1st, and now we're down to about $35 per share. So we're like, NEO's the best, and then in the markets it's like, oh, NEO's not doing so hot. Like, we're riding that emotional roller coaster, and I had somebody comment something about that, one of the wheels fell off, but we're still riding that roller coaster or something like that. Is hilarious. And I don't know if they were referring to NEO or the market in general. I think it was probably the market in general, but when we take a look at NEO, let's zoom out a little bit. And again, this is sort of that same idea that we had with SOFI, that among all that selling pressure, look at this line that's just around, it's just under $35 per share. It's like $34.66 is where I currently have it. So we'll call it $34 up to $35. And I said over the summertime that I wouldn't be surprised to see NEO pull back to the mid-30s. I'd be very surprised to see it pull all the way back to the low 30s. And among yesterday's selling pressure between China itself with Evergrande and then also the debt ceiling crisis that we have in the United States, so that is just hanging over our heads, waiting for that money to move. Are we going to get a downgrade in our credit rating? What is going to happen? So with all those question marks and all that uncertainty, which I think it'll pan out well overall, but the markets are going to feel the turbulence in the meantime. If we put this low candle, we closed at 35.17. The low value on it was 34.54. I think this is a good sign amongst all the FUD that's out there about EVs with chip shortages. Lee putting out its delivery news that it had to give a slight downgrade to the downward revision to the amount of deliveries that it expects, and then also that doesn't bode necessarily well for NIO. I think that this is one that they're going to rotate out of. I think that NIO is a champion. I don't think that the Chinese government is going to let it go. The markets are the cars themselves have a lot of demand after them. We're also anticipating a record-setting quarter, a record-setting month for their production. So far, we haven't heard news of otherwise for the end of September. So by October 1st, I think that we're really going to see a lot of changes between now and then for the NIO stock price. We're going to have to see what the rest of the market does. The fact that it sold off as hard as it did and we still only tagged the mid-30s is really good sign for NIO to me, that we're not going to see too much beyond this. If we go back to May 13th, which is a big day in the markets because that's the low point for a lot of the high growth stocks and tech stocks that are out there. When you go back to May 13th, as low as it sold off, max selling pressure. So we got down to $30 per share, and that was way oversold. So even if you look at the RSI, it kind of tagged 30, which would be the borderline between bearish and oversold in the bearish territory. Since then, it rallied strongly, maybe a little too strong, corrected, and now I think we're seeing an overcorrection for their price. So I think from here, NIO is going to take off. So I think that it's a very good opportunity that we have in the stock market. So let me summarize. Draftkings, not quite at support levels, but under $60 per share. That's, to me, is an attractive price because it offers an attractive upside from where we're currently at. There's like 30% to be gained where there was only 20% to be gained over the next 12 months as per the analyst price estimates. If we get a further sell-off, if we drop down to the low 50s, honestly, if we get, and I hope that this doesn't happen for a lot of reasons for a lot of people, but for me, for the stocks that I'm bullish on, like DraftKings, if we get enough selling pressure to push it down to 50 or below 50, giddy up. I mean, to me, that would be absolutely incredible. SOFI, I'm watching for those bank charters. I'm also watching to see how much pressure it takes before we get that snap down to the next support level, down seeing if we can break that $14 mark. Because if we don't, that's a really good stress test. That means that there's a lot of belief in the current price of SOFI and that there's a lot of pressure from the bulls, enough to stave off the bears in the meantime. And I think that that's going to play out well for us over time. The news of the banking charter is going to move it wildly, and that's why I took that options play that I did, because I think that the options premium that I'll receive by selling off those options that I bought is going to pay off handsomely. So finally, NIO's the one that I'm also bullish on, and I think that NIO is at a very critical support level, and it's one that I think, because it did hold, that it should continue to hold unless we get a lot more significant selling pressure that would really snap for all the markets, or if it would be some big major bad news that I don't expect for NIO moving forward. Our next stop down from there is $30 per share. And if we hit 30, I will take a substantial swing trade position on that one, and also dollar cost average into my long-term holdings for NIO, because I just think that we will just rubber band quickly up from there, at least 33%, taking us back up to 40 within the next few weeks, maybe the next few months at most, and then I think from there the upside after that is incredible. So those are my thoughts, those are my ideas. I'd like to hear what you guys think about them. You can put it down in the comments. To all those of you who like to share out your thoughts, wonderful. Those of you who like to share out your positivity and support, excellent. Those of you who like to throw shade, sometimes there's a little bit too much sunshine, right? So thank you for that shade as well. So moving on from there, hit the like button if you haven't. Eyes wide open this time, just boop, right on the like button. Subscribe button, nice and big. Hopefully you don't miss it. Turn that thing gray for me, and then ding ding ding, that notification bell to see anytime that my videos come out. Remember that link for the Patreon if you want more of my content and want to interact with me and the other investors that are over in the Discord. Come on over and join us. We'd absolutely love to have you. Moo Moo, Weeble, sign up, deposit your money, get your free stocks, and then I get the free stocks. So thank you for any form of support that you show, even if it's watching these videos all the way through. I really appreciate it. I'm Dr. Stock. Thanks for rocking with me. Now go get that money.